Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Home security camera. This is the Izon, I-Z-O-N, View.
Izon View. So this is the Izon View. It's a kind of a little stick camera. And
what makes it, I mean, the form factor's different.
Absolutely. So this is for your house. They call it like a room monitor, which is, you can think of it like a baby monitor, but for a room instead of just, just a single crib or something like that.
So it's sound and picture.
Sound and picture, and then it sends that back to the app so that you can view it. Now, I have the app running right here on my phone.
Right,
this might be the buggiest app I have ever used
that good, huh?
in my entire life.
Wow.
I set this up at home, and everything went fairly smoothly, but I'm trying to get it set up here at the brick house, and it is just refusing to work. I've been futzing with it for about 30 minutes now, trying to make sure that it can work on our network.
Were you able to get it working at home?
At home, it worked just fine.
I'll be honest, we have a lot of trouble with the Wi-Fi network here. There's so many devices, so many networks. That's not necessarily a strike against it. So when you
one
were
of the
using
frustrating things is that the only way that it really has to tell you what's going wrong is through an LED at the front that only blinks between two, green or orange. So you have to use some sort of Morse code technology to figure out what's going on with the camera as it's trying to set itself up. I'm just going to give up on setting it up and letting you see a live feed. Just to imagine, if you would, that once you set it up, it would stream back to your phone. The app is very, very slow, and you can also see that it's really just not well designed. It looks like it was made, here I can turn down my brightness just a bit. It looks like it was possibly made using PowerPoint or some other, similar product from the 1990s. So once you have it set up, this will be the camera that you have. You have multiple cameras, they'll all show up right here. This one's inaccessible. I don't quite know why.
So you can have more than one?
You can have more than one.
Okay. Is it kind of unlimited, or?
Yeah, so far as I know, that it is. With the camera, you can set up motion events and sound events. So I have a few motion events. You can save them by tapping the little lock icon. You can unlock or
Is there
lock.
a central server it's saving it to, or does...
This is all in the cloud.
Okay, so they have their own cloud database of the video, because otherwise your phone would have to always be attached.
Right, absolutely.
All right, okay.
Now, you get a certain amount of these saved. Like if I was to unlock one, I think it'll tell me that, or if I go to lock it, it'll say, now you have 95 more that you can lock and save forever. On top of that, whenever there's an event, it will save that clip, but it'll only save a certain number, and then after that, it'll just give you an image of what it was, and it won't save the video, because in order to save the video every single time, you need to sign up for their pro service. So right out of the box, this is included. This is a free, back-end service when you buy the Izon.
How much will it? So somebody breaks into my house. I got the camera on. It sees the motion. It starts recording. How much am I going to get?
Here, I'll show you. It's about 15 seconds-ish.
And
then, so here's my cat eating.
Now, is this in the dark?
This is in the dark. So this is in
the
middle of the night. It has the infrared LEDs on the front.
That's pretty good.
Now, and it's neat. I
it woke up because it saw your cat enter the room.
Absolutely. I wish that I could have showed you what it was like live, because you can set up a detection area with a little box. So you can say if motion happens, like say you may have a tree next to your front door that moves a lot, well, you can exclude that tree, so it isn't always setting off the motion event.
You can say, I only want to see something moving on the path.
Right, exactly. And I used this when I went to Austin recently for Christmas. I used this to keep track of my cats and make sure that they were moving around and eating their food, and make sure nothing was happening with them, because I worry about the cats. You can hear there's some sound in this file as well of one of the cats.
Wouldn't it be funny if you heard somebody say, like, don't worry, Chad won't be home for a week? Or
right.
Like
well, exactly. And I wasn't too. I was pretty. I wasn't too worried about the security of my apartment. Right. So I turned off sound events, which I'm sure the cats would have.
So you could have sound or motion.
You can do either or both. Obviously. Let me think. On top of that, you can add your multiple cameras. There's some guides. You can have push notifications.
Is it iPhone only?
Now I was looking for the other app. F and Dunn actually has also had one of these, and he said back when he had it, there was no Android app, and it says works with functions available on the iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch. So.
It's iOS.
iOS. Well,
nope,
there's
the
Google Play version of it.
So they do have an Android version.
Yeah, it just does not. It doesn't say that on the box. I kind of wish I was back on Android so I could show you those things. But yeah, on the box it only shows iOS devices all over. So quickly, let's look at the hardware. It's small. It has this base that's magnetic.
Oh, that's neat.
So you can attach this and you can point.
It's easy to aim it.
Right. It's very easy to aim it whichever way you like. This could also be attached to a wall. So that using these little screw things, and it comes with some included screws as well. So you could really, do whatever the heck you want with it to make sure that it gets a good shot in your house, which I really like. On the back there is a USB port for it's like the mini USB port, which it's with its own specialized cable. It gives you quite a lot of cable. It gives you about, I'd say, 5 feet of cable.
And that powers as well as data?
That powers now. The data's wireless, so you're going to want Wi-Fi in your house. Okay. Absolutely.
So that's really a power cord, that USB
It's a
cord.
power cord only.
Nothing else. Okay.
Absolutely. But it just is shaped like a USB sort of thing. And then down the front are the infrared LEDs inside of there, and the microphones on the front with the webcam as well. In terms of functionality, I feel like it worked fine. I got so many push notifications when I was away. That was almost a con that it couldn't group them together. It couldn't somehow say, hey, there were 50 events that happened.
Right.
But it would just constantly ping you every single time, especially if the cats were eating. It only takes 30-second clips. So if they were eating for, say, 15 minutes, that's 30 push notifications that would happen over that 15 minutes.
Well, consider that for your application, if you're waiting for a burglar to break in, that you would want to push a notification.
Right. But when are you
if you're
waiting?
monitoring babies, cats, dogs, anything that moves a lot, not so hot.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's like, when are you waiting for a burglar to arrive at your apartment?
Security. That's the idea of security.
Sure. I guess.
Is that it would alert me that something's moving in there.
Right.
You wouldn't expect that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I would almost wish that it would be able to say, hey, there's movement, and then...
And I'm going to ignore it
maybe
for a
give
while.
me one push notification that
Right.
movement has started, and then another movement has stopped. That would have been much more enjoyable.
This is a crowded field. I mean, there's Dropcam, which
Yes.
Google owns, and there's a lot of other similar devices. How much is the Pro subscription if you're going to store stuff in the cloud?
The Pro subscription, I forget that right off the top of my head.
So this is $150 for the camera.
Well, that's MSRP. You can find it easily online
For less. Oh, look at
less.
that. or $9
Yes.
or $79. And the one we have is the View, not the 2.0. So $99.
Right, we have the View. We have the Izon.
So it's $100. So that's very inexpensive. The image looks good. I like it that it has night vision. And I love the little mounting thing. That's
There's
nicely
a few
done.
features that, and in this space, not all like the Dropcam, which you mentioned, is probably the biggest competitor. I kind of wish that you could talk back. I reviewed a camera a while back, a security camera that you could talk back, where you could hit the button, and it would say a little, get away from me, that cat food.
I'm watching you.
Sella, if you scratch that post one more time. Sella's the name of my cat. So there's a few other features it could have, but for the price, for $100 for a security camera that has a back end that you don't have to pay for, is pretty good.
But for more than just 10 seconds or 15 seconds of video, you have to pay.
30 seconds,
30 seconds, you have to pay.
Well, no, so you get. I'm upset that I was hoping that if it connected, I could have easily hit the Buy Pro thing and figure out the price.
Could see
but
that, yeah.
But it can't connect, so that's an issue. But it will save, let's say, 10 30-second clips a day, but after those 10, it will only take a photo, and you can't get that back. That's one thing. It's not retroactive. So let's say there was a burglary, and you're like,
too late.
Yeah, too late.
Right.
you might have the first 10 events that happen throughout the day, but whatever.
So pros and cons.
So pros are that the hardware is really well made for
Looks
the
cool.
price. It has this really cool magnetic base. It has all the different parts of the hardware. That it's small.
The night vision looked really good.
Night vision worked well.
Yeah.
The microphone is not the best quality, but it's really sensitive, which you want in a security camera. The night vision. So that's the pro of the product. The con is the app was very buggy. It's a very slow product, I had connection issues. I couldn't even.
Well, again, we've had.
Still,
I can
the
tell you,
setup process is really difficult.
kind of wonky.
It's
Okay.
yeah, I'll give it a pass. That in our
This
studio,
is an unusually bad environment.
in our studio, it didn't work. But the setup process was not
Even at
smooth.
home?
Even at home.
Okay.
Even at home.
So-
buy, try, don't buy. I'm having a really difficult time with this one because the price is competitive, and the actual product is great. I love the hardware.
Right.
I wish that they would get a real developer and a real UX designer and real server backend to fix some of the annoying issues. But that's not the product that I reviewed. That product doesn't exist. So I'm gonna have to give it a try.
But the software is the falling.
The software is the big fall on the
But that
Izon
could get better too.
view. That's exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's just like you said, hiring somebody and writing it.
Exactly.